What up, everybody? Give me a minute here. I got different things open. I've been in a little bit of a rush this morning, getting my kids ready for school, getting everything ready, trying to put slides together. I don't do nice slides like Ian. I'm in a rush. I just put up photos. But I thank everybody for being here. Let me expand myself. You see me a little bit better. We're going to talk about Hasbro today. We're going to talk about their reach, their far reach in the toy market towards other companies, and how Hasbro is able to affect and dictate how things kind of move along in the realm of toys, and what we get as collectors, what we pay as collectors as a result. So I think it'll be a fun discussion. Hopefully Lord of Brooklyn shows up. I would have liked him to have been here to plead the argument for Hasbro, but you know, the guy is a mystery. He's probably in a sales meeting right now trying to figure out how to put different companies out of business. But hopefully he shows up and we can talk about things. If he does show up, guys, make sure to ask him what he thinks. Anyway, let's move up and let's say hi to the people who are here. So first was Bones, as usual. What's going on, Bones? I did change the time. I am sorry about that. So what's going on, man? It is a most intriguing topic. I don't think I'm going to do it justice, but you know, we can talk about it. Not a lot of people do talk about it. So you know, we can go over things. We can talk about things. Hopefully, you know, some things that I say are things you never heard. When I became privy to some of this information, I kind of suspected a lot of it, but some of it I was actually quite surprised by. So I thought, hey, you know, well, if I was surprised by it, maybe there'll be other people who are surprised by it too. And I was tempted to make this just a video to make. It's more polished when you make it a video. You have a little bit more time to do it, organize it, get it all set up. But I thought, you know, talking with people and maybe answering some questions and then getting some insight. Al's going to be joining in a bit. Might be a little bit more fun and a little bit more informative for me, for you, for everybody. So that's what I did. Pokey's here. What up? Good morning. Good evening. Spaded one McDysentery. Love it. Always do. Insert obligatory anti-Hasbro comment here. It's not going to be an anti-Hasbro stream. So let's get that right off the bat. It's not an anti-Hasbro stream. It's just we're going to talk about what they do and how they control the market. And I don't think Hasbro is any different than any other company that is looking for a competitive advantage. You know, if we were in those positions, we'd probably most likely follow the same protocol that they're doing. So, but I think a lot of us think that these toy companies are totally independent and their paths don't cross. And what one company doesn't per se affect another company outside of sales and customer loyalty, which is not the case. So again, we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. You know, try to have a little bit of fun today. So let's keep going. Scroll through. Yeah, it is another kaiju stream. What up, Jedi Ben? Hope everything is going well. Paul is here. What's going on? What up, Kenny? Thanks for being here, man. The Mezco Doom reissue coming in clutch. Yeah, that is coming in clutch. I didn't get it. I don't really collect Mezco. Getting Mezco in Japan is really expensive. It's more than a hot toy. If you want to buy a Mezco in Japan, it costs more than a hot toy. So I've kind of stayed clear. There's certain things that I've gotten. I've gotten like the Conan stuff and you know, just a bunch of things, but I mean that Doom does look really good. I've seen the reviews of it. It looks really good. So I might grab it. I might. We'll see. I'm sure you guys can talk me into it. Don't let my wife know that one. Yeah, Pokey. So 30-second unskillable ads. I didn't even know you could get those on live streams. I don't know what ads play. I don't know. I'm not sure. KJ is here. For the moment, I'm sure he's going to dip out and go join one of his 10,000 streams. What up, Billy Ocean? Thanks for being here, man. I spelled Hasbro wrong. Listen, man, I'm not hating on Hasbro. I don't hate on Hasbro. I don't like a lot of the things Hasbro does, but I don't hate on Hasbro. If Hasbro were to go away tomorrow, I think it would hurt the toy community immensely. I don't want them to go anywhere. I don't want them to become a gaming company either. I think they're best suited as a toy company, and you know, we'll kind of hope that they remain as such. But it should be an interesting stream, and we'll get into it. So just show the upcoming Secret Wars Absorbing Man for the argument. Again, I mean, it's not that kind of stream. It's not really going to be that. It's more of like a behind the scenes type of thing. Again, like, this is not me saying I don't like this figure, I don't like that figure. We're talking about like Hasbro corporate. Hasbro, what do they do? What are they doing behind the scenes? How are they controlling Hot Toys? How are they controlling Bandai? How are they controlling those type of things? So again, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Aristotle 511. Good evening. Good morning. Look at that. Followed immediately by Spot 107. Don't think I didn't miss that connection. Michael Wade, what's going on? Thanks for being here. Look, we can all hate on Hasbro all we want. Lego is the real enemy here. Listen, man, that mock-up on Lego is insane. It's insane. That Death Star was $1,000. And I will say, and we'll get into it during the stream, KOs. Companies do KO Lego. There are fourth-party Lego releases. I've gotten stuff. I've gotten, I think I got the Ghostbusters, the Firehouse. I got that as a KO, and it was missing pieces. So, you know, serves me right, like, right? So never again. I ended up buying the Home Alone house, the legit one, for Christmas a couple years back. But, you know, Lego gets knocked off. Other companies get knocked off. Hasbro generally doesn't get knocked off. Generally speaking, they don't really get knocked off. So there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. So we'll get into it. Well, you know, we'll keep the anti-company streams exclusively for Metacom and Mafex. All right, I promise you that, definitely. Curious how Hasbro compares to Bandai. So in terms of toy companies, I think maybe we discussed it the other day. I don't remember. The biggest toy company in the world is Lego. The next biggest toy company in the world is Bandai. And then the third biggest toy company in the world is Hasbro. Now, I don't talk to people inside Hasbro. I get my information from people outside Hasbro who have to deal with Hasbro. And so they give me information. And this isn't one person who's kind of fed me some information. This is about 3 or 4 people in different areas. These aren't all, you know, one group of people collectively in one company or one entity. This is not the case. The people that I've heard from are people who are kind of, you know, dispersed outside throughout different facets of the toy making community, and what they've told me about Hasbro. Again, I can't confirm any of it from Hasbro's point of view, and I'm not here really to do that. But 4 different people telling me the same story, they don't communicate with each other. There's a lot of validity to it. But I do know, and I don't know about Hasbro, but I do know that Bandai is full of people who don't like toys. So that's not cool. Like, if you're going to have a toy company, you should have people who have an interest in the product, people who enjoy the product. Like, there's nothing wrong with bringing a passion. And I think you get a lot more traction as a company with people who understand the market, people who understand the customer base, rather than people who are data driven, which is, we've gone over it so many times. Bandai is totally data driven. But I think, again, bringing more people who have a love and a passion for toys and figures and stuff would really help a lot of these bigger companies out immensely. Bandai, I'm talking to you. So hopefully, things change in the market, and maybe we'll see that. You keep getting kicked from YouTube. What's that all about? I don't know. It's really the reverse of figure watts here in the US costing more than if you get it from Japan. We'll talk about that. Something we're going to talk about. No work for you tomorrow. All right, you're down for a 5-hour stream. Unfortunately, I am not down for a 5-hour stream today. I have other things to do. I have some time off today. I didn't have any time yesterday, so I'm getting people's figures out. I have a few more LPZZ Deathstrokes to get out, and I have another 2 of the toy Spider-Man to get to some people today. So I'm going to be quite busy. I didn't finish the stream yesterday till 2 p.m. my time. I missed my lunch. I felt awful, so I can't do that today. Hopefully this is like a 1 to 1.5 hour stream. Famous last words, right? I say that every time. Yeah, man, more than a hot toy. More than a hot toy. It's crazy. Really. What up, Midnight 5532? Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Been meaning to ask about Mezco's over there. Yeah. Again, like, we get some cool stuff over here, and I have access to a lot of stuff over here that people outside Japan don't have access to. Maybe people outside of, let's just say, China, Taiwan, and South Korea. But people in Europe and people in North America, South America, Africa, I don't know if anybody's collecting from Africa, Australia. We get a lot of stuff here at a lower price and easier to find than you guys do. So I'm thankful for that. But there are things that I do want, like, Mezco. So, the shipping on a Mezco, I was asking about some of the Mezco that went up for pre-order recently. $35 shipping, $30 shipping. What is that? What is that? That's like international shipping. Like, what is that? That's domestic. And I think it's like within the state. Like, I think it's within the state. So, like Sideshow, people bitch about Sideshow and the pricing that they employ with shipping out like their hot toy stuff. Some of that's pretty pricey, but like a Mezco, come on, man, it's not that much. That's insane. Trying to sign in on the TV and the PS5, but keep getting bumped. Wow, that's no good. Just kidding around. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They have pull. Yeah, they have massive pull. Massive. What up, Dark? I thought Dark might join, but he's salty that I said that he was complaining about Star Wars figures. Ian is here. Ian can't join us today. He's a man in demand. So, hey, Bobbert. Am I Bobbert now? They aren't that great. That's why no one KOs them. No. There's some stuff that's pretty good. We'll get into it. Spaded one McDysentery. Hasbro doesn't really have time to get knocked off. By the time someone considers making one, Hasbro has already reused the mold 4 times and re-released the original. Like who? Full Force? No. Get out of here, man. I ain't talking about Mofex today. Get out of here. I'm a Hasbro. Legs is here. What's going on? I see Tokyo Joey's already trying to rage bait. That's what he does. He is the Hatalorian. Don't forget that. He doesn't like that nickname. I think that's a beautiful nickname. That's a great name. Some enthusiasm for the products. I hope you're dead right. I heard Lego is full of people who don't care for Legos. For legs or Legos? Let's keep going through. Vicious Soldier is here. What's going on? YouTube is glitching big time right now. Yeah, let me know if anything is problematic in the stream so I can maybe try to adjust it on my end. Hopefully nothing happens. I don't know if I leave the stream. I've never left a stream when it's just me, but I had to leave a stream the other day with Al and Jason because I had a little bit of a glitch. I don't know if that was my computer or if it was StreamYard, but StreamYard's been glitching a lot lately. So if something happens, hopefully Al is here by then so I can duck out and then come back in. Are you excited for the Red Death Doc Knock? I want it. I didn't get it because of the pricing, but I asked like, Jason or Al, I asked them to grab me one once it goes waitlist because I don't want to pay for it now. When it goes waitlist, then you're not charged until it comes into stock and everything. So it looks good. It looks really good. So I do want to get it. Did I ship that Hot Toys Alien yet that you won? I did. And it said that you got it. I'm just waiting on payment. So come on, man. Don't be that guy. Don't steal my money. I'm excited for the Mezco re-releasing Doom. Yeah. You bought a Snake Eyes earlier today? Nice. Rob keeps asking me to buy yours. Yeah. So Ian's a rich man, but Ian has a very expensive thing coming up. And I reached out to him. I'm like, dude, because Ian says that he has to reevaluate his Hot Toys purchasing right now because he's got this very expensive purchase. So I was like, if you need to get rid of that Xenomorph and you don't want to lose your deposit, I'm your guy. Like, I'll buy it off you. So, just putting it out there. KD 1.5 hours equals 2.5 hours regular. That's right. I do want to say we had a lot of people in the stream 2 days ago. And we didn't have that many likes. So make sure you hit the like button, please. Make sure you engage. The like button helps out the video, helps out the channel, gets it out there in the algorithm. More people can see it. More people can talk about it. More people can be welcome into our community. So make sure you hit that like button, please. And if possible, share it. But share it in toy groups. Don't share it on your Facebook page. Don't do that. I like my anonymity. Catfish, what's going on? Dawn PD 007. Can't wait for Mezco Year 1 Batman. Okay. Did you miss the main discussion? Yeah, we just started. We're only 20 minutes in. I'm just saying hi to people in the chat. Thanking people for being here. I can't read this. All I can see is Brandon. So I've seen Marvel Legends bootlegs. Yeah, I mean they do exist, but they don't exist to the extent that other things do. Like they don't exist to the extent of Transformers KOs. And I don't mean Hasbro. So there's different types of Transformers, right? Like there's the Takara Tomy stuff, and then there's the Chug stuff that Hasbro puts out, you know, like the cheaper basic stuff. You don't see the Hasbro stuff. It's a hilarious nickname, Hatalorian. It's awesome. He loves the Mandalorian. He hates Mafex. It's awesome. It's great. He doesn't like it. He's crazy. I can see that my chat has stopped again. I'm guessing people are still talking, but nothing's popping up. So I'll just get right into it now. We'll use this as an opportunity to transition. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Hasbro's control. Let's get rid of that. Hasbro's control over approval. Hasbro's control over market releases. Perfect timing by Sneaky. What up?
Hey, what's going on?
Hasbro's control over pricing. And Hasbro's control over availability. And of course, again, we're not talking about Hasbro's control over their own stuff. We're talking about Hasbro's control over other companies, other markets, so and what you can get and the price you're paying. They have this incredible control. So we'll get into it. I wrote some stuff down so that I made sure to kind of cover it. So I think I'm going to read my little script, just, you know, kind of point by point, and we'll get into it. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, KOing and CT Toys. Now, this is the CT Toys. This is their symbiote Spider-Man. This is Mess Toys, really. And they showed this off. Do you remember when this got shown off, Al? Do you remember the month? I can't remember.
I don't, but I want to say it was sometime last summer, just by my guesstimation.
Like August or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah, because I think people started getting the figure around October. So, and it didn't take too long for it to come out once it was shown off. So, yeah, I want to say maybe like August.
Okay. So, I want to get into, like, you know, CT Toys kind of operates on their own, and we'll get into CT Toys again, you know, later on. But just I'll keep the picture here. I'm not going to get right into the picture right away. Again, I'm going to read a little bit what I wrote because I don't want to forget stuff. I want to make sure that I say it. So right off the bat, Hasbro, like I said, it's a company. And what they do is in the best interests of Hasbro shareholders, stockholders. They hold a lot of sway in the toy industry, of course. And I think we can all agree they've almost single-handedly shifted the toy collector market towards 1/12. Now, I'm not saying that they created 1/12. I'm not saying that. So don't try to imagine that I am, but they're the biggest company really in the biggest market. And when they shifted a lot of their, you know, they had the Marvel, and then they shifted Star Wars to it. It really kind of forced other companies to kind of, you know, swim in that river of 1/12. So we are doing 1/12. We're not doing 1/10. We're not doing 1/9. And a lot of it really is due to Hasbro. You can say Toy Biz. You can say that. That's fine. But it's really, it's all due to Hasbro. And, you know, Hasbro contributes a lot of positives to the toy community. I'm not taking anything away from them. Again, this is not going to be a stream where we're bashing Hasbro. We're just going to talk about what Hasbro does, what they're capable of doing, and just have a better understanding of how their decision-making affects you and your toy collecting if you collect, especially Disney properties. So the first thing that we're going to get into is the approval process. So what is that? So when you go to the IP holder, you need license approval, and that can take a long time. Now, a lot of people were speculating. I'm just going to go off a little bit here and just use this as an example. We're just going to use this Symbiote Spider-Man as an example. So Mess Toys came out and they announced this, and right after that, so this is like summer 2025, like August, right? Right after that, we got Kyoto with their Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi symbiote. And people speculated right away, hey, this is Mezco, this is Kyoto responding to Mess Toys, to CT Toys. This is their response. They came out and they said, all right, we're gonna release this as a response to this company kind of ripping off our stuff and so on. Of course, anybody who understands the toy industry would know that's not possible, because this guy is in the pipeline for a long time. This guy is coming out, what did we say, June 2026?
Mm-hmm.
The pipeline for this guy started back in summer 2024. That's when the approval process, the licensing started with this. So here's the idea. They pitch it to the IP holder. And this, again, it's summer 2024. Just giving you an idea of how long the process is for some of these things to get from concept to shelf. Okay. So this guy, he looks great. I think a lot of people are excited for the figure itself. We saw, photos from Wonderfest. We saw some video from Wonderfest of the figure in hand. People really loving it. The accessories are really, really nice. The accessories, I think, for most people were the selling point, and then they saw the figure and they got even more excited. But this thing started again 2 years ago. And that process involves obviously crafting the prototype, but you need to get approval first, because you're not going to waste the time, the money, the resources on putting out a prototype unless the IP asks you to. So they pitched the idea. They pitched the idea to Disney, and you need Disney approval. You also need Hasbro approval. This is something that shocked me. What? You need approval on Disney IP from Hasbro? Yeah, you do. Why? Not their company. Well, because they're the biggest license holder of the product. And Disney relies on them for expertise. They are a domestic company. So, people at Disney can regularly meet with people from Hasbro. Again, Hasbro controls more markets than any other toy company. So when a company wants to do anything, they have to present it to Hasbro. But what does that mean? What does that mean? So it means that, Hasbro can either kill or hinder a project that another company has in the pipeline. They can kill it by saying no. I mean, have they done that yet? I don't think so. I've never heard of it, but they could theoretically. They could kill it because they have license approval. Or they can hinder it. They can say, all right, show us this, come back to us, change this, do that, do this, which can prolong something and then make something so expensive that the company might just give up. Now, again, this one is 2 years. It's a 2-year process. Hasbro also, by doing this, is allowed to see how the competitors are putting together their figures. What are their ideas? how are they putting the figures together, the makeup, the joints, the build, the engineering, all of that. Now, this is something that they have the right to see, because again, Disney will okay it, then Hasbro will okay it, but they'll say, okay, you need to show us a prototype. So again, most companies are going to wait to make the prototype until that point, right? I need licensor approval before I start making the prototype. And the prototype could take, it could take 3, 4, 5 months, depending on the product. And then they're going to go back and forth. We don't like this, change this. But Hasbro is really going to be there to kind of challenge and say, this can be made or this can't be made. This is physically possible or this is not physically possible. That's their position in this pipeline. They're there as a courtesy, but they're there also as like an expert, not a witness, but somebody to just kind of not waste Disney license time with things that just aren't feasible. So they serve that role in this kind of dynamic. They can move a toy company in a specific direction with their approval process. So they can say, no, we don't want this, or they can convey that to Disney, and Disney can pass that along. We don't want this, we don't want that, we would like this more, so on and so forth. Now, that could theoretically, again, that could move a company away from their original intention. They wanted to give you this, they're getting pushback on that. That affects how the company is going to move forward and whether or not they think putting out that product would demand customers' money. So would customers respond positive to this product? Is it different enough from what's been out there that people want to buy it? Well, their original proposal was, but now through this entire process, some of which Hasbro has the ability to get pushback on, that might not be true anymore. So you're pushing away competitors, you're changing, or you have the ability to change what people or companies are able to do and what customers are able to get. So just kind of keep that in mind. So again, this one started about 2 years ago. And by adding all of these layers to the approval process, again, it hinders a company's ability to get that product from concept to shelf. If a company's looking at a 2-year window to get something out, or a 1.5 years or something like that, sometimes they might just say, I'm good. I don't want that Disney heat. I don't want that license. I don't want to put out these Spider-Man products. I don't want to put out a Hulk. I don't want to put out a Thor. I don't want to put these out because this is such a problem getting that license approval. It's a very long, drawn-out process. And by throwing in a competitor into the fold can be very, very difficult, I think, for a lot of companies to overcome. So this is the first aspect of it. Like I said, this is the license approval process. So when it comes to this symbiote Spider-Man, they have approval on the black, they have approval on the purple, they have approval on another color that they'll show off later, but that's it. And they can't do anything beyond that, because then they have to start the entire process again. So if you say, well, you gave us a black, or you gave us a purple, or you gave us this other color that they'll unveil later, what about this color? They're like, well, it took us about 2 years to get here. We're good. We're not gonna go back down that avenue again. It's too problematic just to put out a different color that maybe people will buy or they won't buy. So a lot of times, even with the Mafex putting out the head sculpts, the likenesses, right? You need approval every time. Every single time. You need approval if you're going to put out a human likeness. You need the entire approval process again, but even just any figure. But with the face sculpts, it's a little bit more stringent, which is why they never do it. So, understand that companies are kind of faced with this uphill battle that Hasbro has seemingly put themselves in a very key position of determining right from the get-go what companies are able to give you and how it's going to be, how it's going to look. Basically, what's the price point going to be, right? You can use this, you can do that, but you can't do this or you can't do that. So that affects it. It's a very, very complicated dynamic, but Hasbro is right there. Maybe not with Hot Toys so much, but definitely with Mezco, definitely with Kyoto, definitely with Bandai, definitely with Medicom. They're definitely a major component of that approval process, which is just crazy. It's crazy. I had no idea that they were able to wield that much power. It's crazy. What's your take on that, Al?
I mean, this is all news to me as well, but it doesn't shock me in the slightest when you think about, corporate world and, Hasbro being really on top of the industry. But it is crazy to think that, we're talking imports, like you said, Kyoto, you think that this is just them, they're putting this out, but for them to need Hasbro to pretty much okay it, it's pretty crazy. It's shocking to hear, but it makes sense when you start putting, 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
like it makes sense, but it's not something that would pop into your head that you would imagine
exactly. Right.
be part of the process.
Yeah, exactly. Like going, just the whole drawing board, I'm sure everyone just assumed that, this is, Kyoto just putting things together and just reaching out to Disney for approval. And, just to think that Hasbro has to send their goons over to supervise or, okay, it is pretty crazy. And just like, sorry, this is kind of not off topic, but you were mentioning how this symbiote Spider-Man from Kyoto has been in the pipeline for 2 years now. Makes you our theories about spies in the factories or in the offices when it comes to Mess Toys putting this out before Kyoto announces it, it really adds more fuel to that fire too.
Yeah. I mean, when this thing is floating out there over 2 years, enough eyes are going to see it.
Yeah.
Right. Enough ears are going to hear about it. Yeah. So like when I talk about people are conveying things to me, people in the toy industry hear things, especially in this part of the world, even if it has nothing to do with their own companies or, companies that they work with or whatever, or factories that they're related to. Everybody talks, everybody knows. So, it's very possible. Again, like a lot of people said, well, this was Kyoto responding to Mess Toys. Well, actually it was the other way around. And,
right.
And Al and I, we met up in 1/6 chats back in the day. That's how Al and I got to know each other. That's what, if you collect 1/6, you start seeing certain figures start coming out of nowhere, like Terminators or Robocops or things like that. You're like,
Yeah.
these are in the pipeline. These are coming out from Hot Toys, the licensed, the license holder, at least for 1/6. But these other companies are getting wind of it, and they start putting stuff out.
Exactly. Especially we were noticing that a lot with 1/6 because, and like you said, a lot of the stuff that, Hot Toys is, getting approvals from, it takes years to get all the approvals from, you know, whoever they need to go to. But we were seeing third-party companies putting up all kinds of Terminator 1/6 figures like 2-3 years ago. And then just last year, we started seeing Hot Toys and now InArt announcing a bunch of Terminator figures, you know, 2.0s and whatnot. So, you know, it just, you know, you just kind of put 2 and 2 together. And it's like, all right, these guys know what's going on. They have to. There's no way it happens, you know, all the time, just on a coincidence.
Yeah. So let's get into the chat. Let's see what people are saying. Again, this is part one. We're going to get into other things, but this is the first aspect. They're definitely involved in license approval for everyone. I don't know to the degree for 1/6 for Hot Toys, but for the 1/12 stuff, they absolutely are. So let's get into it. Like I said, Ian, he is a rich man. We're not going to dispute that. You're richer than we are. Good man. Work hard, pay your bills. You know, good things can happen.
Yep.
A couple aliens.
What is he talking? Is he talking about the scorched alien?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
There's a reason Mess Toys KOs the Revoltech and not the Legends. There's multiple reasons. We'll get into that. But yeah, there's reasons for everything, right? People and companies, they react and they move according to plans, right? There's a reason there. Great nickname for Ian. Yeah. Oh, YouTube is just cooked. Well, again, keep me posted on that.
Yeah, it seems like YouTube is down for a lot of people. I was trying to jump on, you know, just to watch some videos about an hour ago, and I could not load up YouTube on my phone or my computer.
Is this going on? I didn't put it onto Instagram. You have it streaming on Instagram?
Yeah, I have it streaming on Instagram.
Okay.
So if anyone's having issues on YouTube, you can always jump on my IG if you get, you know, cut off or, you know, disconnected from the stream.
Yeah. So WS Dawn, is that right? Dawn of Pops. Most of the Mezco are in pajamas, but I have a few I like. Yeah, to a degree. Like I said, I mean, I get like the Conan stuff. I like that stuff. I don't have too many cloth things. I did get this guy from Al the other day. He's pretty nice. The Indy Jones.
Yeah.
He's pretty nice. But you know, the Figure Watts one is a banger. I mean, you know, this one is soft goods, but that one that Figure Watts that Tamashii Nations put out, was it now 2 years ago, I think? It's a great figure. It's a really, really nice figure.
But those accessories with the Mezco, woo, top notch.
Yeah, they're really nice. They're really nice.
Yeah. They're really nice.
What are you talking about? Let's keep going through. Yeah, it was like midsummer, so maybe July, I guess. I thought it was August. Okay. All right. YouTube appears to be down. Like the homepage isn't loading. We're lucky this stream is still running. Yeah, they'll be hearing from my attorney. This is Hasbro. Hasbro's doing this.
Yeah, you know what? I was promised that Lord of Brooklyn would be on this stream. But it seems like he's just trying to sabotage it now.
Yep. Something's going on. Hasbro got motion like that. Yeah, wait, weren't they the ones who sent the Pinkertons to raid that dude who'd accidentally got unreleased Magic cards earlier? I don't know. Magic the Gathering stuff? I don't know. Did they do that?
Interesting.
That seems to be stuff they've done, but I don't know if they did that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't really keep up with Magic news, so I'm not 100% sure if that really happened. But
yeah.
Okay.
Watching this on the phone, but the PC version is not loading. Okay.
Wow, I can't open YouTube on my phone or computer. I haven't tried TV yet. Then.
And I'm not streaming this. I'm not streaming this as the vertical. And I'm not streaming this one on Instagram this time. Like, of all the times not to stream this on multiple platform style things. Now would not be the day. Keep going. Yeah, capitalist. Well, again, like, they're not the IP holder, and it's not their product, and it's in a market that they barely touch, yet they're the ones having to give approval. It's wild. I think it's wild. I think it's crazy that they're given that kind of power within that dynamic. It's crazy. Yeah, an expert advisor. I think that might be why Jesse Falcon is so embedded with Disney and Hasbro. Make sure Hasbro is working on what Disney wants, and then he can also protect Hasbro profits, which help Disney profits. Like, I'm not, I was going to talk about it later. I'm not blind to the fact that, when Disney says jump, Hasbro says how high. They're the license holder. When Hasbro is told to do something, they're going to do it. Just like every company that wants a license that Disney has, they're going to do it. And, we see Disney putting out edicts like, we want this character pushed. Arena Suit Boba Fett comes out from Hot Toys, comes out from Hasbro at the exact same time.
Right.
A random character. Right? And by character, I mean like iteration. A random iteration of Boba Fett. The exact same time. From two of the license holders.
And
which is crazy.
We're also seeing it now with a lot of the Legends characters, like, Star Killer, the Revan Malgus, all the, old extended universe characters are coming out from Hot Toys and Hasbro.
When Disney Plus had the Kenobi show, and instead of doing an Inquisitor lightsaber, they used the specific character that people weren't really feeling. They didn't like the character, right? They didn't like this particular character. But if Hasbro had its way, they would just put Inquisitor lightsaber. But Disney wants to promote the show or the character because they have other plans for the character moving forward. So, what was her name? Reva?
Reva, yeah.
Reva. So they made it Reva's lightsaber. And people weren't biting. They just didn't want it. I mean, it was overpriced. That's another thing. But, you slap a label on it that people don't like, and you slap a price on it people don't like, people aren't going to buy it. But, that's Disney. That's Disney telling Hasbro, you got to do this. Even most people will acknowledge that the Tron HasLab was Disney. That was Disney saying, you got to do this as a HasLab. Or you got to do it at a certain price point. And Hasbro, maybe they didn't want to do it. We said, okay, well, we'll do it as a HasLab because nobody will bite. Right? Like, we don't want to do this license. Like, we don't want to commit. So maybe that's
they got out of that one.
Yeah. They got out of it. Yeah. Where'd I get this info? Like I said, I talk to people. People talk to me. I can't reveal who talks to me. But like I said, it's from multiple sources. It's from 4 people who are in different countries, different places. Like, I wouldn't say it on the live stream if I didn't think it was legit. I would just talk about it with guys, or, what do you guys, did you hear about this or whatever? But there seems to be a lot of validity to it. Yeah, moving like the mob, right?
You know what? Actually, I'd say Disney is Palpatine, Hasbro is Tarkin.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, you knew they had to give approval because they control the market, right? And we're saying there's different markets. Let's pull this up. Right? The next topic we're going to talk about is control over market releases. You control the approval process, but you're also controlling markets that aren't yours. Or you're controlling your market in ways that, again, is probably not best for collectors. Again, we'll get into it. We'll get into it all. Let me remove that. I'm sure that most of these companies, if not all, use the same factories, so they're seeing all this stuff being developed and made. Yeah, and like, you know, there's a lot of people who are involved in the factories, right? Like there's distributors there, there's people that run factories, there's people who manage factories, and they communicate. They definitely communicate. They, you know, people know. And the factories all are kind of, all the factories in China are in one specific area. So it's not like they're spread out like in the States. Like there's a factory in Seattle, there's a factory in Chicago, there's a factory in Dallas. Like that's not, it's not spread out like that. They're all in like a province. And, you know, if you're in that province or you have connections in that province, you become privy to a lot of information. A lot of information. So somehow I like the look of the Mess Toys more. Ray is
it's all personal.
drunk. You're drunk, Ray. Get out of here.
I mean, it's all personal preference. You know, some people don't want their Spider-Man veiny.
They don't want it glossy.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want it glossy. Although Ian, I haven't seen it yet, but Ian saw the Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man, the symbiote, and he said it looks more of a matte type of paint. He was more impressed by the purple one. So, so they have both at the Kyoto store in Akihabara. I'm going there. I think I'm going there Friday. So I'll have some video on Friday for people. Take a look at it. But Catfish first to market has to be a huge advantage in toys, right? Generally, yes. First to market and everything, there's an advantage, but certain companies have reputations, and even if they're not first, like Mafex, even if you're not first, you have, or you've had a reputation that you're going to put out the best one, right? So your product is going to be, you know, the definitive version. Marvel Legends is usually first, then it's, you know, Tamashii Nations, and then it's like, you know, Mafex and Mezco between the two. And most people will agree that those two are probably the definitive versions of the different characters that they want in 1/12 scale. So being first helps. It definitely helps, but you know, it depends on the company and that company's reputation. Ever since you mentioned it's not possible, a third color, it's all I can think about. It's definitely going to be a third color. But it's not my role to discuss it. But there will be a third color, and it will be available much later. So don't hold out for the third color. And it's going to be very hard to get. Very hard to get. So don't hold out for the third color. Trust me. It's not. It's sort of going to be like that Goku level of like hard to getness. So CT Toys Factory not going to KO Hasbro figures because they're not trying to mess up that big Hasbro contract with CT Toys. Yeah. I actually like ones that's almost a statue because of the sculpt. Okay. Hasbro strikes again. They did. Okay. YouTube's largest hack or something. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's Hasbro. Hasbro is messing it up. They knew Kaiju Daddy was coming with some receipts. They were like, "Oh, we gotta pull the plug." I'm on the PC, but will not move to anything if people are having an issue. I think people are having the issue with the PC. So getting on. If you're already on, I think you're good. But I think it's people having a difficult time getting on. He comes with the sick light up gauntlet. Which one is this? What are we talking about? Is this the Hasbro?
Wait, light up like what?
Light up gauntlet? Because we talked about like a statue. I don't know what statue it is. I'm not sure. Which one are we talking about?
Like an infinity gauntlet, like Thanos?
Yeah. I don't know which one we're talking about. What up, 78?
78.
When Kaiju says jump, Moffick says chotomate. Onegaishimasu. The least the product teams are cool. At least the product teams are cool in person. Legends and GI Joe. Well, most of them, I would say. Most of them.
I've never met any of them, so I couldn't say.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some of them talk. So. They need to work for the POC exclusives. Okay. Oh, snap. We know Sneaky likes it, Vaney.
Gonna double up.
So this is the symbiote we're talking about. What about web shooters not coming from the back of his hand? Yeah. Sup, fellas? Let's try for 6 hours tonight. No. Figma. Figma doesn't do Marvel anymore, to my knowledge. They don't do them anymore. They don't do Disney products.
Yeah. So nothing lately. Just anime and video games so far.
Yeah. I can't think of the last time they did one. Definitely pink is the third color now. Valentine's exclusive. Well, if it was Hasbro, it would definitely be pink.
Right.
Or be rainbow or something. Do you think Mafex or SHF ever make a figure in the size of the 97 Sentinel? No. Not for like Disney IP. Now, if we were talking about like something Dragon Ball related or Kamen Rider related, yes. Mafex, the biggest thing they've ever built, ever made was like the Hulkbuster. So that was, maybe like this. So it's like the size of Venom, I would guess, but it was, is bulkier. There's more mass to it. Yeah. Hasbro hasn't given YouTube permission yet. Screwing it all up. All right. So let's go on to the next topic. So like I said, control over market releases. So let me, again, I have a couple notes written down that I want to make sure that I touch on. So again, Hasbro controls most markets. I think we all understand that. We all know that. As such, companies that do have license rights in other countries are either outright prohibited from selling in the market, or they have to meet a threshold on price. And again, we'll talk about it in a moment. Even markets they don't control. This is Hasbro. They have approval over, as we discussed. Hasbro can and does have territorial control over most of the world. They had China, but from what I understand, they no longer hold the rights to China, to that market. And the market is a bit more complicated. So I'll get into that more.
Well, actually, since you're on that topic, I'm curious if you ever heard any more about what the deal was with the Figuarts Spider-Man not being Remember how they ended up not being a wide release for Asia? Oh, well,
this is what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. I just Professor X'd you.
All right. So Hasbro, from what I understand, had the market rights to China, and I don't think it was a matter of them giving up the rights as much as the rights just were no longer being afforded, being offered to them. But they still have their market control. And this is not... So Disney works in different ways. Okay. Disney rights, from what I understand, because I know that there's someone who is in our group and someone who watches the videos. Disney rights are not based from Disney headquarters. Disney has territorial rights as well, and each territory handles its own rights. From what I understand, the issue with the Spider-Man was that the license fee became too exorbitant. So Disney China was asking for a license fee that was like triple the normal license fee, or even quadruple the normal license fee that companies would pay for a product. And of course, you know, if you're paying triple or quadruple, that's eating your profit margin right there. So that's, from what I understand, that's why this figure has been pulled from certain markets. It's really because the license fee last minute got bumped up considerably, and you know, rightfully so. Companies balk. Like, I'm not paying that. I'm like, this is extortion. That's crazy. Now again, this is Kaiju Daddy talking. This isn't other people talking, but this is me again. I know people in China. I know people here. But from what I understand, from the Chinese aspect of it, they were asking for more than Bandai, I think, was comfortable paying. We'll kind of leave it at that. So, but it's interesting because this is exactly what I was going to start talking about. I'm like, I'll save it for the next pot. And then you're like, hey. Anyway, so let me remove this. Usually when a company leaves a market, they don't have any control over it, obviously, but we're talking about Hasbro, and Hasbro does. Hasbro has control over the Chinese market still, even though they're not the license holder to it. Now, I want to talk a little bit. We talked about KOs and Hasbro and things. So this right here, this is the Studios L Unicron. And Studios L used to be called Zeta Toys. Zeta Toys was going to put out a Unicron. And then Hasbro came along with their HasLab and said, you're not going to do that because we'll shut you down. Now, Takara Tomy and Hasbro have, especially Takara Tomy, they've kind of looked the other way when it comes to companies in China putting out third-party Transformers. But this was a Hasbro-specific venture. Not Takara Tomy, but Hasbro. Takara Tomy, I think, went in with it, but this was very much run by Hasbro, this HasLab Unicron. And so the studio cell, Zeta, they ended up creating Studio Cell, and they put this out. But in order to put it out, they had to release it without the head. So you got the head in a separate box, same shipment, but a separate box to kind of get around certain things. Now, this is the HasLab. So you can see the difference. One is a lot less bulky and beefy than the other. This is the Hasbro, and this is the Studio Cell. Now, Studio Cell has subsequently put out different colors. They put out like a newer accessory pack for, you know, the rings that go on his shoulders to make them bigger, more movie accurate. But you don't see companies, KO companies, knocking off Hasbro products. It doesn't happen. If it does happen, it's very rare. And I bring this up because when people say, well, nobody wants a Marvel Legends KO, like they're cheap anyway. Yeah, but no one ever made a KO of this. Companies generally do not make KOs of HasLabs. Those are the perfect things to make KOs of. They don't do it because Hasbro, through Disney, goes in hard on those companies. Years ago, factories that were making the knockoff Transformers, they got raided.
I remember that.
That never happens.
Yeah.
That never happens in China. It happened with the companies that were looking to do KOs of the Hasbro Transformers, the Chug stuff. They got raided. And it was just blanket. They went after everybody who was doing Transformers because Hasbro didn't want any KOs eating into their market. And so they did. They went in hard, and they had the power of Disney, and they went in and they got those factories either shut down or fined. And those companies, they got hit considerably. People went to prison. Like it was a big deal. This was before COVID, am I right, Al? Maybe like 2018 or something?
Yeah. This was quite some times ago. Yeah.
But companies, KO companies, don't mess around with Hasbro because they work in tandem with Disney. Now, companies here, whether it's Medicom or Figuarts, like they're getting stuff KO'd all the time. Kyoto, they're getting stuff KO'd all the time. And they don't like it. And we've gone over Medicom having this stupid plan of re-releasing their entire catalog to try to fight CT Toys. It's not going to work. Like you re-release these figures at their original price point, you're still looking at a $20, $30 figure. People are still going to go for the KO. It doesn't matter. Move forward. But these companies are angry that they're paying a lot of money for the licenses, and Disney doesn't seem to really want to do anything about it. But they do something about it when it comes to Hasbro. Hasbro has that power because Hasbro isn't going to play. And I've also heard that Hasbro pays a lower licensing fee than other companies do. So, for example, Hasbro might pay 3 to 4%. Other companies are paying like 5%, 6%, something like that. Yeah. And you say, well, that's just 1 or 2 points. Well, that's a lot over a huge order.
Exactly. And I mean, it makes sense too, because, you know, they're probably giving Hasbro a little bit of a discount for being their biggest, you know, company. But
they go to war for Hasbro. They don't go to war for other people, other companies. They don't do that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's like some type of symbiotic relationship where both are
Yeah.
benefiting each other. So,
Yeah.
but and
Yeah.
you know when you say that too, it kind of makes sense when you think about, well, Hasbro's able to put out way more figures, way more, waves versus like a Medicom, that putting out figures twice a month maybe. And
Because
that could
Hasbro
also
has its
factor,
own factories.
yeah, and that could also factor into like the licensing cost too.
Sure.
Hasbro's paying less so they could put out more.
More volume, of course.
Yeah.
When you get a license, you're paying for the license, but you also are agreeing to a certain number. Like, you're going to pay the license. You're also going to pay based on the volume. So there's two fees associated. There's the original license fee, but then there's the product fee. So your fee is going to be, you're going to have to, it's going to be stipulated. All right, how many units are you making? You're making 1,000. All right, this is what the fee is going to be. You're making 5,000. This is what the fee is going to be. You're making 10,000. This is what the fee is going to be. And this is, getting into Medicom with Mafex, where they don't disclose until last minute that they're going to be reissuing something. Hobby Genki jumps the gun, right? They're always putting out the info, but Medicom doesn't. They don't do that. And, a lot of people were saying that Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew got a reissue. It started showing up at Ami Ami again, like massive amounts, which is why I did the waffle, because, it's on the shelf again. Let me make it available to people. But I haven't seen it anywhere else, not even in the Medicom store. So I think that was just Ami Ami maybe finding some pallets or something and then, distributing them to their stores and whatnot. But generally, Medicom is not going to announce until the very last moment that anything is being reissued or anything is going to be coming out. That's just their MO. That's just the way they operate. But again, Disney will support and back up going after factories if Hasbro wants it. But if Medicom complains, if Bandai complains, if Kyoto complains, it seems like nothing is ever going to be done. So again, Hasbro asserting its power, its dominance over different markets. You can't get KOs of the Hasbro stuff, not because nobody wants it. I would like a KO of this. I didn't get the original HasLab. I wouldn't mind a KO of this. I wouldn't mind another Dragonfly KO. I wouldn't mind one of those. Another Rattler, a couple more His tanks. Not going to say no to that. But they never come out. And you can't say there's no market for it. You can't say that. Mm-hmm. There is, especially Transformers. Of course there is. So it just shows you the power that Hasbro has, even in a place like China where nobody seems to get anything done. Hasbro seems to. And it's not even their market.
Imagine a KO HasLab Sentinel. People go crazy for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. So let me get back into the chat. Shutting down the PC or the mobile. That's wild.
It's working now for a lot of people. I'm able to pull it up now. Yeah, I'm able. Okay. I pulled it up on my other window just so I could comment to the chat.
Yeah, I would say, guys, don't speculate on the third one. It's going to be a while, and like I said, it's going to be very, very difficult to get. So I wouldn't worry about it for now. If you like the character, you like the look, just focus on the black one and the purple one. And from what I understand, the black one is going to be in lower quantities than the purple one. So, if you want these particular figures, it's not the type of thing that you sit on the fence on. Because, you might be like Al and myself. Oh, I'll just get it next week. I'll get it tomorrow or something. And then it's gone. Right? That happens to everybody.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. So if you want it and you can get it, I would say either pre-order it right now or when it goes up for sale, if that's how you like to to roll. You don't buy things until it's actually available. Get it right away, because like I said, the numbers on the black are going to be much lower than the purple. So Austin is here. Good evening. I expect we'll see the Lord of Hasbro in the chat at some point. If we don't, I'm going to be very angry. Really, really angry. Yeah, the Hulkbuster was their biggest. Imagine color options was, I was thinking of like damn cell shading. So let me just say this. I when I found out the color, it's not cell shading. I'll just say that. It's not cell shading. It's a color. But I had said, hey, what about a cell shading? And I was told, no, that's why I know they only have the approval for the 3 colors. Because I asked and they were like, no, if we wanted to do cell shading, we'd have to go back and do the whole approval process again. So it's not that, and I know that specifically because I asked about it. The Target exclusive stuff here. Yeah.
Oh,
that's another thing.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Is somebody here?
We have a special celebrity in the chat.
Uh-oh. We'll get to
right
him.
We'll on time. Right on time. We'll get
to him. Would SHF ever do a larger Sabretooth? I think you'd have to see Sabretooth in a property. You know, the last time we saw Sabretooth, really, I mean, let's not count that Deadpool brief appearance, was, you know, back in the 90s, right? So you'd have to see him in something new, and he'd have to have a prominent role, I think, before Figure Arts would do something. Would the cell? Well, again, I don't know the degree of the veining on the black one and the purple one. Like, I don't really know how much is on it. I haven't seen it in person yet. So the pictures are one thing. Seeing it in person is another. But I think it could work. I think it could. China stole Michael Jordan's brand. They don't care about rights. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about China. They get away with so much. They don't get away with KOing Hasbro. That's the line. Right? And we know Hasbro ain't going after them alone. It's Disney. Disney's going after them. But they do it for Hasbro. They don't do it for other companies. Any reason why none of the Chinese toy companies have any licenses to Marvel? Yeah, Marvel doesn't want to give them to them. Like, Disney doesn't want to give anyone in China right now the Marvel license. The only one who has it is Blockies. Mm-hmm. As far as I understand, and Hot Toys, of course, but
that's a different. You know, yeah,
but Blockies is not 1/12. I mean, let's be honest, it's not 1/12. And Hot Toys, it took them a while to get it. They finally got it, and they do a lot with that license. So, you know, they really promote Disney IP a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Probably more than any other company with their pop-ups and the stuff they do. And they, you know, Hot Toys is a different animal, but the Blocky stuff, they're new. So it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit early in the game to kind of see where that goes, but they're licensed.
We were close though with LPZZ. Just unfortunately, things didn't work out.
I heard something about LPZZ. I heard that the LPZZ got bought by DC China. We know Inot and LPZZ are competitors. How is that going to affect Inot moving forward?
Right.
I don't know.
Interesting.
But I heard, again, this is a whisper in the wind. I heard that LPZZ was bought, which might explain the name change. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a UPN by the DC China. So we'll see where that goes. But I trust the person who told me. So that's kind of crazy. Like, where does that leave Inot? You know? Now, what are the possibilities for LPZZ? Does this now exclude LPZZ from getting the Marvel license? Because it's now officially a DC license, you know, a DC company, so to speak. So we'll see. I thought Hasbro moved part of the production to India to save money. Well, they moved to Vietnam. They moved to Vietnam. I didn't hear about India. I know they went to Vietnam, but again, like, companies have had production in China for decades. And we all know you develop skills over time. People who work in factories, you know, you're not just hired off the street. These people are painting figures. These people are, you know, with their hands. That is a skill. And right now, people in Vietnam just haven't acquired that skill. They haven't been doing it long enough. The people who would work in a factory at that price point, at that salary point. So you're not going to see the same quality of product from the Vietnamese factories that you would from the Chinese factories. That's why they're still in China. That's why they haven't moved. They would have to have something set up in Vietnam for at least a decade before the quality shifts to being identical to China. And it's only at that point that you could start weaning out more en masse.
Yeah.
You can't just go now because your products would suffer. How big is Spidey in China? I don't know. That wasn't really something that I've ever asked. I should probably ask. I would imagine he's big. He's not as big as he is other markets, but and I did hear this is kind of wild. I heard that that a lot of the third party 112 figures are big and bulky and a certain height because of Mezco. Because the Mezco 112 figures were really the first 112 figures that took hold in China. And so those figures became the standard. And so, like, Muff Toys is big. They're kind of not the same as Mezco, but when you look at the size and you look at the style, you're gonna see a lot of figures coming out from third-party companies in China that are very, very similar or in the same ballpark as the Mezco stuff. And again, the person who designed the in-art Bale Batman, that person was a figure arts fan. So the body is basically, it's a figure arts body. That Bale Batman, he's a figure arts body. The design, like the engineering. So, you know, what you like and the type of figures that you enjoy, what you create will often mirror that. You know, artists are inspired by other people's art. So, you know, it's interesting that those kind of things happened in China. I didn't know that until recently with the Mezco. That's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of makes sense when you look at a lot of the third-party stuff that has been coming out the last couple of years. They've been getting really big into like the soft goods look. Definitely Mezco inspired. So again, you put two and two together, it all makes sense.
Definitely. Um, Ian always causing trouble. Rocco just messaged me. He said, "Stop taking toy collecting so seriously." He's gonna find you, Ian. He's gonna kick your ass.
Wow, Rocco and Hadalorian beef in 2026 was
Yeah, we'll
not
make it
on my
happen.
bingo card. It wasn't on my bingo card. But we're gonna have to make like an AI video since those are the rage right now.
There are KOs of them. We're not saying there aren't, but they're not at the same volume as other things. But the Marvel Legends is not the thing. The thing is the big stuff, the stuff that people want, like this, like a HasLab. They don't make those because Hasbro couldn't be bothered if somebody's making, you know, a KO of something they're not going to re-release at a price point that's pretty much the same as what they sold for retail. They couldn't be bothered. They couldn't be bothered at all. Like, and we'll get into it. Like, they can't be bothered with certain things. Certain things just don't show up on their radar. It's not worth the effort. But
Yeah.
other
And I
things
mean,
are.
And yeah, and you know, like you can go on AliExpress and look up, you know, Marvel Legend KOs, and there really isn't a lot, you know, compared to what Hasbro pumps out every year. I think I've seen like I know the Hulk KOs are huge. Um, there was a Juggernaut KO that was pretty popular within the community,
Mhm.
and I've seen some Deadpool and some. It was like a Venom symbiote wave. Um, and that's pretty much it. You really can't find a lot of Marvel Legend KOs.
We said that at the beginning. We said
Yeah.
they do them, but there's not a lot.
Yeah.
And again, like we'll get into something else, and they kind of cross over, but there are things that Hasbro couldn't give a shit about. I'll get into it in a moment. I don't want to jump ahead, but
Yeah.
you know, there's things that just it's not worth the effort, basically, to Hasbro. They have a line. These are things that matter. These are things that don't matter. When you cross a line like this, right? Like when you're putting out a HasLab and a company is going to put this out, that's absolutely going to eat into your numbers. So they were like, you're not doing that. We're shutting you down. And they did. And when the KOs of the Transformers became a problem monetarily, they said, all right, we're shutting it down. And they did. And for people who collected Transformers, there was a spell there where like stuff just stopped coming out because people had to they had to shift to other factories and they had to get their footing, their bearing again. Some companies disappeared, other companies just kind of moved, but it definitely affected that market. Anybody who was collecting Transformers at that time period will remember, like there was a dry spell. Certain things weren't coming out. We didn't know if certain things that people pre-ordered, paid for in advance, were going to show up. Were they seized? Were they destroyed? People didn't know. So some things matter to Hasbro, other things don't. And we will talk about that in a moment. It's definitely one of the topics. Don't forget the hand gesture when you say, how does he say it? Like this? I don't I don't watch him. I don't know. China. I can't even do a Trump. I don't watch. I don't watch him. Can you do it, Al? I can't do it. China. I can't do it.
And I'm not trying to get canceled, guys.
We need more companies boss up like Hasbro. Yeah. Maybe under communism we can get some figures that don't cost an arm and a leg. Well, you know, you're not going to have any money to buy them under communism, right? Isn't that kind of the thing?
Yep.
To everyone his ability, to everyone his needs. I got my fake DLX Soundwave just in time then.
Which one was
Maybe.
that?
No, DLX
3.0?
You got it now?
Wait,
Yeah,
there's
this is totally different. This is
okay.
years. This is years ago.
I
I have the Mofex Daredevil and the CT Daredevil. The Mofex is way better paint wise, but the CT price is way nicer. Yeah, of course, of course. Seems like Disney just uses Hasbro as a weapon to lay down the law as far as toys under their jurisdiction purview goes. Yeah, but again, like Disney, they don't have an in-house. They have an in-house licensing, of course they do, and within each subsection, like Lucasfilm has its own licensing, Marvel has its own licensing. When I say it goes to Disney, it goes to Disney, it goes to Marvel, it goes to Hasbro. You know, and it kind of jumps back and forth between all of them. It's not just Disney says, all right, Hasbro, Disney doesn't make decisions for Marvel. Disney will make a corporate decision for itself. Marvel will make a decision based on the IP. And then Hasbro will kind of say, all right, toy wise, this can be done or it can't be done. You know, start showing us prototypes. We recommend not doing this or not doing that, or this is not feasible. And, you know, it's just a certain power that they've been given, that they yield and that they wield. 67 viewers. No. That was when we were shut down. Have KOs gotten better, or have official companies just declined in quality? KOs have gotten better.
Yeah.
Transformer KOs are great.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit of both, honestly.
Yeah. Isn't Bandai more powerful than Hasbro? They have a higher revenue than Hasbro. Bandai is bigger than Hasbro, but Hasbro is allied with Disney. So this is the kind of the point. Like it's not Hasbro going into China. It's Disney on behalf of Hasbro going into China. They do it for Hasbro. They don't do it for other companies. Bandai is bigger than Hasbro. They're more profitable than Hasbro. But again, like the argument we were making is a little bit different. I think they'll repaint the Unicron and re-release it. We're talking about the HasLab, because the Studio Cell, they've repainted it a few times, and now they're coming out with like a translucent version as well. Maybe even glow in the dark, something like that. Yeah, Unicron is huge. I have this one. I mean, he's right up behind me. I have the Studio Cell. You can see him right there. I love him. I didn't get the Hasbro one because I was getting this one. So, but I'm happy with this one. And the thing about it is a lot of people prefer the Hasbro one in planet mode, but I think they prefer the Studio Cell in robot mode. So, like you can see, the planet mode here looks way cleaner than what you can't really see it here, but like the top one, not the bottom one with the arms sticking out, but the top one. The Hasbro one looks way better, but the Hasbro robot is just, he's super, super bulky. Look at the legs.
Yeah.
And then look at the legs here. Like
that robot mode looks way cleaner.
Yeah. All right, let's kind of keep going through. Oh, I see him. He's coming. Have they canceled any and all Digimon? I don't know. I'm not sure. Sorry. But a self-governed weapon that Disney doesn't need to manage too much. Disney just puts their power behind them. Sure. I mean, yeah. You're late, brother. You're late.
Disney is Palpatine.
I wanted you on here to talk.
I know. I promised you to be on here
last time. Son of a gun. All right. I'll go through these for maybe 5 minutes, and then I'll get into the next part of the topic. I just want to be able to make a guess and be correct on the color. I get that. probably going to be blue. Whether blue, anti-venom, or black and red. All right, let's not get stuck on my color. That'll come out later. I wonder, how does the new Japanese prime minister feel about all this? She seems to be the no BS type. Yeah, she's a little bit scary. To buy or to not to buy, that is the question. Yeah, pre-order figs or not. Yeah, true definition. No one knocks off Hasbro. Well, again, like, this is what I heard. There's no confirmation on it, but this is what I heard. No confirmation, like, you know, there's been no announcement on it. But the person who told me, I trust that person, so I'm gonna say it's true. So, like I said, we'll just go through this for a couple minutes, then we'll get to the next part of the topic. Shout out to the Hottie Boys. Is there a reason for the name change? What name change?
I think the LPZZ to UPF.
It might be. It might be the reason. They're rebranding, maybe. Because LPZZ was the Chinese name, and I'm not even going to attempt to say it, but it was like, you know, LP something, you know, Jingzhu or something.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, it was like a, what is it, an acronym?
Yeah, an acronym, yep.
For the name. LPZZ seem to have been doing polls about brands. Yeah, they're awesome. Like, Al and I are in those chats. Like, you know, those chats are great. And, you know, we're lucky that we're in those chats because we get first dibs on the polls, right? And then they put them out to the public.
Yep.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat and Assassin's Creed. It's good that a company will diversify their portfolio in terms of IP. And what were the new ones, Al? What are the new ones? I can't remember. For the poll.
Which one? Oh, I think it was something with video games.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It might have been the Assassin's Creed one, I think. It was the
Mortal Kombat was there. I think it was Street Fighter 2, I think, too.
Let me see.
I can't remember.
I actually check right now. Where is...
While you're going over that, can you talk a bit about the territory wars between Figuarts and Hasbro as it related to Star Wars? We'll get to that in a moment. Is Hasbro watching them like hawks to make sure they're not promoting their superior figures in the U.S.? We'll get into that in a moment. Trust me.
Okay, yeah, the last poll was the fighting game one. Looks like Mortal Kombat was the clear winner of that poll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kaiju dropping bombs on your moms, insider trading bombs. Yeah, the LPZZ ones, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, those look good. Promising too. Bummer.
Yeah. The need to make more Batmans. Stat. Yeah, that was LPZZ.
Yeah, yep. The first time they were shown off at Wonderfest, was it 24? Wonderfest 24.
Yeah. And they weren't there last year, and people were like, what gives?
Yeah. I was looking forward to it too. But
yeah. 78 points. Vietnam getting closer to Indonesia. 78. Are you going to go to Shanghai this year? I'm going. I'm trying to get Ian to go. Some other people. I'm going to go to Shanghai for Wonderfest in October. Let's go. Come on, hang out. I'm way more fun than KJ. Way more fun. Even he will tell you that. His wife will tell you that too. She's like, I wish you were more like Kaiju Daddy. I heard her say it. It's a true story. We done that they. Excuse me. Yeah, unfortunately, China is the best in the business and the manufacturing industry. Yeah, I mean, they are, because they make everything. You know? Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year. Yeah. Yeah, SHF has some stuff there. Takara Tomy, I think Takara Tomy has had a factory there for at least like 10 or 15 years. Takara Tomy was one of the first ones to move there. Inot haven't announced or teased anything DC 1/6 past Affleck Batman. I think the Reeve Superman is next for pre-order, then the Affleck Batman. They don't seem interested in doing a black suit Superman.
I mean, who knows? Who really knows?
Yep.
I mean, seems like in our news has just been slow in general the past couple months.
Yep. And I heard Indians can't paint with their. Make sure to hit the like button if you're watching, please. 109 people in the stream. Hit that like button, people, please. Thank you very much.
There should be 109 likes.
Yeah. I wish Disney would let Chinese companies get the Marvel license. Yeah. I think Inot, if they got it, it would be really good. That would be cool. Especially if LPZZ is going to be doing, they're going to be doing the DC stuff. Like, let Inot just transition over to Marvel and Star Wars. All right.
Make them all the same scale, please.
All the same scale. All right. So now, control over pricing. Control over pricing. So let's bring this up. Now, people were asking about Star Wars and things like that. Again, I have some notes. I'm just going to read the notes. Then I can, shoot the shit and we can talk about it. So Hasbro controls the markets. We already went over that. For another company to sell figures in Hasbro markets, and this is, if you've been collecting for a while, you'll remember this. They haven't done it in a long time, but it seems like it's possible it's happening again. Figures need to be over a certain price point. Now, people don't remember, but Bandai used to sell figures in the States. The Figure Arts Marvel figures. They used to sell them. And they got around it. They got around it by doing this. So this is what they used to do. They used to do deluxe releases of their Figure Arts stuff. So this one is Ant-Man with that flying ant. This was the American release. It was a deluxe release. Together, it was over the $80 threshold. In Japan, they were sold separately. It was the figure and it was the ant, whatever that ant's name was in the movie. I can't remember off the top of my head. But in America, to get around the license that Hasbro has, which is up to $80, at least when it comes to Marvel, Tamashii Nations was doing this. They were bundling things to make it a more premium release. It was a deluxe release. And so in doing that, they were able to get around the Hasbro license with Disney and sell these there. It didn't last, and I'm not really sure why it didn't last. It could be that again, Hasbro was like, no, we don't like this. I'm not sure. It wasn't something that I asked about. I didn't have too much time to ask questions before I decided to do this stream. But this is definitely something that they did in the past. This was the domestic Japanese release. It was 2 separate releases in America to get around the Hasbro license, which is anything under $80 Hasbro controls in that scale. And so they would just simply throw a lot of stuff in and make it a deluxe premium figure. Now I woke up this morning, and one of the Star Wars websites was, I don't know, Galactic Figures or something like that, was announcing that the Mandalorian and Grogu, the figure arts, will be available to buy in the United States. Up until now, Star Wars has been off limits. Completely off limits. Now, Al, maybe you can remember, when did Hasbro re-up their Star Wars license? It was recently, wasn't it? Was it last year?
No, I don't know if Star Wars was part of it, but remember all those talks about Hasbro
It was within the last 2 years.
Yeah, remember how last year the big news was Marvel, because there was all that speculation on, oh, is Todd McFarlane going to get Marvel? I don't remember if that included Star Wars too. Like, was it both properties, or was it just Marvel last year?
I think it was just Marvel. They were talking about Marvel, but Star Wars was definitely up again. And we were kind of talking about maybe another company getting it, and the Star Wars IP at least needing fresh takes on the figures. I thought it was within 2 years. Look in the chat, because I'm still kind of where we were when we left off. If anybody says when it was, please just let me know. But it's possible that the new license allows a company like Bandai, again, going over a certain threshold in terms of retail price, to be able to sell things in the market. I heard about this morning when I woke up. Somebody who we know kind of confirmed it in a question in the Facebook group.
2022. It's 2022 is when Hasbro renewed Star Wars.
4 years ago.
Yeah. And I guess that included, because of Lucasfilm, so included Indiana Jones as well too.
Okay. So it's possible that maybe they're, if it's true. Now, I reached out to Bandai this morning, and I haven't heard back. So I don't know yet. If you're in the Facebook group, when I find out, I'll let you know. But I reached out to Bandai here in Japan, the people that I know. Haven't heard back yet, to ascertain whether or not this is true or not, because I didn't hear anything about it. And it seems like something that would have been kind of mentioned, but it wasn't. So still waiting. When I find out, I'll let you know. But if it's true, it'll probably follow this same pattern, where you're going to have to get a deluxe set so it doesn't compete with the Black Series stuff. If it's true. So if it's true, expect this to be a very pricey release in America. They would have to add some stuff onto it, or prompt Bandai to release it here at a certain price point. And then by virtue of that, it would have the same price point in America. So this is the Japanese release. Back when they were releasing stuff in America, the Japanese one, you could get the single figure, or you could get the ants separately. Obviously cheaper if you're getting them separately. You don't have to get both. But just getting the figure, this is back when like these were like $35, $40 when the Ant-Man came out. This would have to be $80. How would you do that when it's a $35 figure? Well, you'd throw the ant in. You'd have to make it deluxe in order to justify that price. They would have to do something like that with Star Wars if what was reported is true. They'd have to do that. There's no other way around it. And I don't even think it's true, but if it is true, that's the only other way you can get around it. So the pricing, you know, when it comes to pricing in different markets, if Hasbro doesn't control that market, they're just a player in the market, they can still dictate what the price point is going to be through Disney. Disney will protect them. and say, okay, well, in China, right? Hasbro, the Black Series is in China, or Marvel Legends is in China. If Figure Arts wants to sell there, you have to be over a certain price point, which is very difficult for Bandai. What are they going to do? You'd have to do these type of things, these deluxe releases. So Hasbro controls not just approval process, not just the markets, they also control pricing if you're going to release it in certain markets. Now, they can't normally dictate the domestic pricing for Mafex and for Figure Arts in Japan. Normally, they can't do that because Black Series stuff is all imported here, right? Hasbro doesn't really distribute anymore. They used to. They don't anymore. But the figures, they're able to kind of dictate the price range that people are going to have to pay. So if these Mandalorian and Grogu are going to be available in America, expect you're going to be paying over $100 most likely for it. Which gets us into something else. Hasbro will look the other way. I said we get to it. Hasbro will look the other way with the Mafex coming in from Big Bad Toy Store. They'll completely look the other way. Why? Well, the Mafex Vader that's releasing next month, it's like $140. It's not that much money. It's not going to compete with the Black Series at $140. So, and it's not competing with Hot Toys, obviously, right? Like it's a 112 figure in $140 range. It doesn't register on Hasbro's radar. They don't care. It's not eating into their sales. It's not competitively priced to what their product is. They don't care. So there are always going to be infringements. Does Hasbro care enough to go after it? Disney does, but does Hasbro care enough? Disney doesn't give a shit because they're both IP holders. Like, they don't care. They're getting paid either way. It's just, does Hasbro do that? And when it comes to a store like Big Bad, they're going to carry Figure Arts. They're going to carry Mafex. But those figures are not licensed for America. This is Hasbro's territory. If it's priced higher, including shipping, they don't care. Now, people will buy stuff from Nin Game. People will buy stuff from Ami, Hobby Search, Hobby Genki, all of these different companies here in Japan, these retailers, some of whom are legitimate. They have contracts with Medicom. They have contracts with Bandai. And if Hasbro made any stink about those figures going into the American market that they control, it could be very, very serious problems for Bandai. Because Bandai is giving the figures to its distributor, knowing that the distributor, or at least that's the argument Hasbro would make, knowing that the distributor is then taking that product into a market it's not licensed for. So they're infringing on the Hasbro license that they pay a lot of money for. Hasbro could really, really cause serious damage to companies like Bandai if they wanted to. But the pricing is so high between the cost of the figure plus shipping that it doesn't really register on Hasbro's radar. Like, they don't care. As the price of Black Series creeps up or Marvel Legends creeps up, it might start to become a problem because then it becomes more competitive. But right now, they know about these things. They just don't care. It's not on their radar. They're not going to go after everybody. They're not. Some things they care about, some things they don't care about. The HasLabs, if they get KO'd, they care about it. If Marvel Legends get KO'd, they don't care about that. It's not worth going after. Right? A police officer seeing someone run a red light, it's worth it. Seeing someone jaywalk, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not a big deal. You pick your battles. So with Hasbro here, is it possible that we're going to get this? Yes, I guess it's possible. But I would say that the price point is going to be north of $100 if it happens. Because you have to, Hasbro needs to protect its own domestic market. What do you think, Al?
Oh, easily over $100. I mean, the prices we're already paying from Big Bad as a non-licensed Star Wars figure is already over $100. So if that news is true that SHF Star Wars figures are going to be officially licensed here, I mean, I would assume that those prices would go up a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I reached out. When I get confirmation, I'll let people know. I'll put it in the Facebook group and we can discuss it there. Once I know, I'll pass that information along, but I don't know. I don't know.
There we go. This is the one. The problem child right here. Does anyone want to see this on camera? Do you want to see this kaiju?
No.
No.
So what CT does is they re-engineer it. They'll get the figure, they'll break it down, and they'll re-engineer it. That's how they do it. They just re-engineer it.
Mm-hmm.
They take the sculpt, they have the original figure, and they'll re-engineer it. Now, when you get a mold, not to say that CT Toys doesn't use molds. Molds are very expensive. You talk about tens of thousands of dollars for a mold. A mold has a lifespan. It can only be used a certain number of times before the quality starts to degrade. It is known that factories have, so like a Star Wars run, right? Like you might have, let's just say you have 10 to 15 molds for a particular figure, a character, right? And those 10 or 15 molds are gonna support the number of products you need to put out for your agreed upon contract with Disney. But someone in the factory very quietly gives you a mold that you then take to another factory and you use, and then you bring it back. Well, now you're going to start seeing quality control issues with the company that had those 10 to 15 molds, right? Because it's been used a certain number of times. You've already calculated, I get this many uses out of it, so I can produce this many X amount of figures of the highest quality before I start seeing a drop off in quality. But when the mold is used somewhere else, you don't factor that in. And now the amount that are good quality diminishes. And that affects the IP holder. So CT Toys, they might do a little bit of that. They might just do re-engineering on figures. There's a lot of things that go into it. But for using that to scan the originals, I mean, they could do so many things. It's not just one way. They're gonna do whatever is best for them, whatever is cheapest for them to maintain the quality that they're trying to put out. CT Toys is a big mystery. Nobody really knows, you know. Mattel, yeah, Mattel. Out of nowhere, they're back in the game big time, huh? Out of nowhere.
Right.
Like this year,
especially
big.
Yeah, especially now that they're pivoting to that, true 112, 6.5, well, not true 112, but 6.5-inch scale, with the DC stuff, and now Motu. It's great times, good times.
Yeah, definitely. No one is bigger than Hasbro. Stu, what's going on?
Stu Baca.
Stulicious. I'm lagging behind, but I believe the lack of Hasbro KOs is the cost versus profit. Yeah. You can sell an SHF or a Mafex for 30 because it probably only costs 5 to make. Hasbro cost is probably smaller. The cost to make Hasbro stuff is very small. It's there's less paint. It's a cheaper plastic. There's less involved. There's less artwork. They usually use like stock photos, at least for like the Star Wars stuff. It's apples and oranges with the Hasbro KOs, but a low priced item at retail is less likely to get KO'd just because there's two real models to a KO. The first is there's a lack of availability. So people will make a KO because there's a lack of product on the shelves for people to buy, and it's an in-demand item. So the KO will thrive there. The other option is when an item is so overpriced for a consumer, not overpriced in general, because that's a subjective, term, but what you place value in and what I place value in terms of, my disposable income vary. And so if a figure is $80 or $100, a lot of people are going to say, sorry, that's above my ceiling when it comes to buying something. But then if the KO comes out and it's 80-85% of what the actual one was, or even 90%, and it costs a quarter of the price, most people will be all in. Especially people who are used to paying that price anyway, like the Marvel Legends guys. People who are spending $25, $30 on a Marvel Legends, and they're getting, 5 figures, 7 figures or wave, and they're getting all the figures, and along comes here a KO of a Mafex at the same price point, they're going to be all over that. They're definitely going to be all over that. So for the KOs, if you fit into either of those categories, people are going to want it. But if the profit margin is low and there's no demand, people, the KO company's not even going to bother. And people just aren't even going to bother to pick up the KO because they know the quality is less. So, there's a lot of truth to what you say, but, there's so many things that factor in. Love the LPZZ polls. I'm so glad they're so open with people. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're here for the flag talk? Look, we're 2 hours in. I thought this was going to be an hour long. All right, let's get into it. It never is. It never is. Let's get into the third one. Not the third one, the fourth one. So the fourth one is availability. Okay? Availability. So Hasbro, we all know they sometimes assert their power over retailers. And I just talked about retailers like Big Bad or Ami that they don't. They don't assert their power when it comes to figures coming in that they carry, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they assert their power if they don't want to see something come into market. And this is maybe a prime example of that. So the HasLab, the Engine of Vengeance, it failed. It was a failed HasLab. It was by many people considered overpriced. And when you weren't going to be hitting the different tiers, people kind of walked away and they said, no, we're not interested in it. The price point was $350. So they weren't really interested in that price point. Most people just wanted the car. They were good with just the car. They didn't need the figures, or maybe they just wanted a Ghost Rider. They didn't want that iteration of the Ghost Rider. For whatever reason, it failed. And then not long after, Ramen Toys came out with their Ramen Racer, the Inferno, and the price was about $80 cheaper. It was $265.95. And this was up on Big Bad. And what happened? Hasbro told them to take it down. Pull the sales. Why? Well, who knows why? Who knows why? Their HasLab failed. They didn't like it, and they had them pull it. How do we know? Well, you know, a little ace told me on my shoulder. So Hasbro says if you want to carry Hasbro products, you will pull this item. And, you know, that's how they assert their dominance. If they don't want something in their market, they'll tell a retailer, you pull it or else you no longer are able to carry Hasbro products. And if you can't carry Hasbro products, you're going to financially suffer, right? People are going to go elsewhere for their Hasbro stuff. And while they're there, they're going to order their other stuff there as well. So not being able to carry Hasbro stuff is a death sentence for a lot of retailers. They're not going to risk that. So this guy disappeared, as did the accessory pack. He had an accessory pack to go on the regular Ramen Racer, and that disappeared because, again, Hasbro said no. So Hasbro, they can do that. They turn the blind eye sometimes to things that they don't feel are consequential, but for whatever reason, this one they did. And we know it was Hasbro because Ramen Toys told us. He told us, like, you know, Big Bad communicated with him, and he told people. Like, it was Hasbro that said no. Hasbro, they picked their battles, and for whatever reason, they thought that this was going to be some sort of an infringement on them. You know, I mean, you know, sorry, Ace, but I really like their look better. I think Aces is cool. I like Aces, but I think this one looked better. But it was also priced $80 more.
Yeah, the effect pieces on the Hasbro one look nice.
Look really nice.
Yeah.
They look great. But, you know, at that price point, that's a lot to ask for just this. This is an easier swallow for a lot of people. So people were, yeah, if you just give me the car, that's all I wanted. I just wanted the car. But again, like, they choose and they decide, and, you know, it was good for them. And they you know, they asserted their power and their muscle. Now we saw something like that again just today, right? With Four Horsemen Studios, not Hasbro, but Four Horsemen Studios and big, not big, Boss Fight Studios.
No, so it wasn't Boss Fight. It was just the Red Sonja, whoever runs that Red Sonja Instagram page.
It's not Boss Fight that was doing that.
No, well, I don't know,
because when I woke up, when I woke up, it was gone. All those, all those.
So that post, that post was actually from the Red Sonja official Instagram. But I mean, we don't know if it was Boss Fight that complained, or whatnot. Who knows? But it wasn't Boss Fight that posted that post. But yeah, that post was, whoo, it was only up for maybe like 15, 20 minutes, and then
really
got deleted. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah. Has there been any news on when LPZs are dropping the Arkham Knight for pre-order? No.
No,
I
nothing
would
yet.
say it's not going to happen until after Chinese New Year, so March. I'm surprised they showed anything during Chinese New Year, but March. So I would wait for then. Small ones. And what are we talking about? Ant-Man. The SHF Ant-Man is a damn good figure. It is. It's a really good figure. They did the same with the deluxe Falcon. Yeah, they did it with a couple figures. There were a few figures. They did like 2 packs too, I think, but they priced them up really high. Hasbro did the same thing to Mondo with the Ghostbusters line. Did they?
Oh yeah, there was some rumblings about why that Mondo Ghostbuster line was priced so high, and apparently, supposedly, it was because of the licensing.
Yeah, it
From
makes
Hasbro.
sense. It makes
But
sense.
at the same time,
but
I don't
Mondo
know
prices everything high.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Because once they announced that 112 Motu line, I was like, it's the same pricing as the Ghostbuster line.
Yeah. I feel like we never sleep. Sometimes it feels that way. I woke up at 4:15 this morning. My son having a nightmare woke me up. No good. Just place that massive HG order. 860.
Oh man, he sent me that list. That looks like a nice list of figures you got though.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, looking
well,
good.
it's noontime now. It's noontime now. Does Hasbro control the POA on Marvel figures? That's one aspect that they could control if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, they have license approval. They could say no, we don't like this articulation. Make it 5 POA. It's like, I mean, they could do whatever they want. Whether or not Disney or the other company would be like, all right, get out of here with that, who knows? But they have, from what I understand, they have veto power with their license approval, which is crazy. Who wins? The Predator.
Depends on which Predator.
Yeah, that's true. Cryptic does stuff. No Predator. I would take him. What's going on? Inot or UPF would be awesome with Star Wars. It would. It would. Just hope they dig up some book lore characters. Yeah, some EU kind of things would be really cool. Definitely. It's probably when they started adding soft goods. Are we talking about the Mezco?
Yeah, I'm not.
It's hard. Like we stop and we talk and we stop and we talk. It's kind of hard to like kind of keep up. So apologies that I don't know. Turn away from evil and put your faith in Jesus Christ. Okay. I have that flying ant box. Didn't know I have the Japanese version. Okay, so just the ant. Yeah, that's the Japanese version. But the one with Ant-Man in it is the American one. Or at least the one that Hasbro approved for outside Japan. Just a bit. Yeah, jaywalking is a gateway crime. Yep. People who murder, I guarantee you they jaywalked at one point when they were
just like all the meth heads. It all starts with smoking that ganja.
Yep. It all starts with throwing bubblegum on the street. So it's a gateway crime. This dude. Yeah. What up, Kevin? Will Flow, what's going on? Hustles is here too. What's going on? Anything new on Jada? No, I don't know anything about Jada. Jada's an American company.
Jada's headquarters, their office is not that far from me, actually. I should go raid them. Yeah.
Yeah, people forget about that HasLab. It was very controversial. Yeah. I mean, people were really angry about it. friend of the show.
Hey. Friend
Now
of the
listen,
show.
Lord of Brooklyn, why don't you just come on and talk? I'll send you a link. You want to come on? I'll send you a link. You got to message me though, because I don't know what your stuff is. Ace don't play
Hasbro
that
is
way.
always.
Yeah,
2021.
Ace didn't play then. He wasn't. Ace is more diplomatic now, but Ace didn't want to play then. I'd be down for Robbie Reyes. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
we already we got the new Johnny Blaze coming out again this year. We had Danny Ketch. What was it last year? I believe, or 2024.
Yeah.
We need the Robbie Reyes.
Well, it's easy to say that unless you have a collusion between all the retailers. Like if the retailers all came
Right.
together and say, we're going to tell them. But if
Yeah.
it's only one or two, like you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
There's
no going back.
That's if it's just one, especially a mom and pop retailer. I mean, that's like
not that those
suicide
exist anymore because they don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like like Big Nerdy. He's coming up. He's becoming a pretty big retailer, but he's still a mom and pop. He can't just be telling Hasbro to go F themselves, or he might be committing business suicide. It's tough.
Yep. We charged a competitive price at $349.99 with accessories, a vehicle, and an action figure. Yeah, fire. You gonna explain what happened with the Red Sonja thing? So again, it was just, I think it was backstage like lawsuit threats.
Yeah, we really don't know what all the details are, but Four Horsemen put out a statement stating that, basically someone complained about that legendary barbarian female being too close to a certain Red Sonja, and the Red Sonja Instagram page posted a post with the Boss Fight Studio products, like a picture of them, and saying buy only official Red Sonja figures from Boss Fight Studios.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it was.
Yeah, crybabies. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, it's funny that they deleted their post shortly after, and they did block some people that were commenting on it.
All right, so that's all I really had to report on that stuff. I've kind of said my piece. If anybody has some last questions before we wrap this up, you can write them now, and if I have the answer, I will answer. If I can answer, I will answer. But otherwise, if I can't, I can't. I really wish Lord of Brooklyn was on, though.
You know what?
Really upsetting.
I do too, but you know what? If we need him to stay in the shadows to give us updates without blowing his cover, so be it. We appreciate you, Lord of Brooklyn. We don't want to burst your bubble.
Yeah. Although I did reveal some of that information today beyond the Hasbro, that LPZZ stuff. I don't think anybody's ever said that.
Oh yeah.
That might be some breaking news, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I don't think many people were privy that there's a third symbiote Spider-Man coming out too until today, right?
Most people didn't know that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But don't fixate on it. Like when it needs to be announced, they'll announce it. Just focus on the black and the purple. Yeah. What LPZZ stuff? What are you telling me? You haven't been here the whole time? What?
No, I think He was just talking about no, he was just referring to how the rumor about DC China might have bought LPZZ. So that
Yeah.
unconfirmed, but it's a rumor.
Yeah. Make sure you hit the like button, everyone. Please hit the like button. Yeah, so I heard from a very reliable source that LPZ was purchased, LPZZ, UPN, was purchased not long ago by DC China. And how this plays into the new growing INOT LPZZ rivalry will be interesting to see. But you know, we'll see what happens. But that's it's kind of interesting. Again, it's not confirmed. There's been no press releases or anything, but again, the person who told me, I trust, so I don't think said person would make it up. Any other questions, comments? Lord of Brooklyn, you got anything to say?
Yeah, Lord of Brooklyn, what's up with those GI Joe pre-orders selling out so fast? Are you guys
Yeah,
making
what
these
the
limited, or
F?
what's going on?
I'm tired of Hasbro doing that. I'm tired of stuff selling out on Pulse that are pre-orders. I'm tired of that.
Right.
Come on.
No, come on. That Lord of Brooklyn, you got to confirm that's FOMO tactics, right? Just like the
Yep.
police
Yep.
officer selling out, and now he's
Well,
available everywhere.
look at the divers. Look at the divers.
Yeah.
Right? Those divers, those sold out. Those are sold out everywhere. I just got them on clearance off of Target. Come on. What?
Which one was that again? That was a Figuarts?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Figure Arts. This is from like, I don't know,
A while ago. I remember. Yeah.
a long time ago. Back when I had hair. Maybe.
I'm still
But like
hoping
you can look at the engineering.
Yeah, that's that Figuarts leg stuff. Ugh.
Yeah. It's really different. Yeah. So again, I think that the StreamYard chat is probably being wonky. Yeah. I got a message. Just entertain the troops.
All right. Let's see. Did anyone else have any messages? Let's see here. What's the news on Tim Drake? I think Kaiju said it was March, maybe, if anything. Let's see. Midnight. Do you prefer comic animated figures or live action? Personally, I like comic figures more, just because with live action it could be hit or miss depending on the company. Live action stuff I tend to do mainly like 1/6 figures, because with Hot Toys and whatnot, you're getting those for the details. So I don't generally pick up comic versions in 1/6, but when it comes to 1/12, it's mainly comic figures or animated figures. I was actually out of the 1/12 collecting game for, oh man, 16, 17, 18 years. I transitioned over to 1/6 collecting, and I was, doing all the live action stuff. But one of the reasons I got back into 1/12 is because I wanted to get back into comic and animated figures, and I just didn't see a point in getting those in 1/6. So that's how I got back into 1/12. And I've kind of been enjoying 1/12 again more than 1/6, just because it's easier to world build. And I did get into photography, a couple of years ago, action figure photography, and it's just more fun, and I guess you could say easier to do photography in 112. Not to say that it's impossible with 1/6, but the space you're going to need to do 1/6 dios and just a world build, that is another monster. All right, let's see here.
Let's see. Appreciate that. The condiment, the condiment divers.
Oh, ketchup and mustard, yeah.
Ketchup and mustard, yeah. Hold on. So yeah.
Lord of Brooklyn, I will tell you, I did not miss the pre-orders on those Studio Series 86 Transformers.
I need that Bruce Lee. I wish they would do more of this iteration. Like Inot's doing one.
That's what I'm saying. Inot needs to come out with this already. Like what's going on? I've been waiting for those Inot Bruce Lee figures.
Yeah, like what's going on? He's good. He's a good figure. I used to have him like with the leg down and the other leg getting ready to kick, but I think this one getting ready to fight. But the legs are a little bit loose, because he's an old figure. But he's cool. Darth Gutierrez, no, there's no target. I ended up having Darek, Wakandan Figure Slayer. He ended up grabbing me one. So.
Oh, you're talking about
the G.I. Joe 2-pack.
G.I. Joe? Yeah.
Why hasn't Mafex done Under the Red Hood or Justice League Animated?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of questions for Medicom that are still unanswered. And we will probably never get all the answers we want. They're
all smiles. I walk in, and the smiles. They're like, here comes that dickhead. What's the news on Tim Drake? I'm hoping it's going to be the end of March. If we see him in store by the end of this month, I'd say it's possible that he's going to hit in March, but who knows?
That's right. He's still not on display yet. Huh?
He's not on the display, and they're not going to release anything that's not on the display, right? So the ones that were on display that haven't been released, they still have to be released. They're going to show off what's coming. That's their new plan. Great show. Enjoyed the 5-hour banger. Yeah. I appreciate you watching, man, showing up.
Hell yeah. Thank you as always.
Depends on the comic, depends on the live action. Right? Yeah. For collecting 1/6. Somebody's gotta.
Yeah. Darth Gutierrez with the hot takes on 1/6 and other streams.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I don't know too many people who stream from this part of the world that don't, like, I know guys who stream here, but they don't talk about these Western IPs. They're into like Figuarts, and they're in a Kamen Rider, and they're in a Godzilla, like exclusively. Like, that's what they do. I don't know anybody over here that talks about this stuff besides me and like Ian, So it's good to be able to talk about these things because you guys have no information, right? Mm-hmm. And now that I'm getting to know people in the industry and people in China and who are in the industry, and it's proven to be very informative. And again, whatever I can share, I want to share. I don't like keeping secrets. I hate keeping secrets because I'm not good at it. So I hate the fact that it might slip at any point and then I'll get in trouble. But Speaking of which, that Gamerverse, I've been saying it's probably I'm gonna make the announcement this month. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. I mentioned that the last stream. It's probably gonna be next month, closer to when that Spider-Man drops. So I need to know that I'm not gonna get somebody in trouble. You know.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that.
No.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, the faucet of information turns off.
gone.
I can't understand why people like live action. I just don't like the idea of owning a figure of an actor person pretending he is a comic character. Seems weird to me. I get that. You know, Mr. Mom, who's not here tonight, unfortunately, he got, you know, he got in, not got in trouble. He got into some beefs with people. Partially, it was over something that I'm not really going to talk about, but partially it was because he doesn't like the idea of collecting children characters, children like Harry Potter, right? Like Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron, and whatever. And he started getting into it online with people who said he was ridiculous, but there was more to it. There was a lot more to it, but that was part of the beef. He has since changed his stance and has said that, you know, not that he was wrong, but he's changed his opinion. People are evolving, right? You know, what you think today is not necessarily what you're going to think tonight, right? So I understand you don't like collecting that type of thing, but, you know, a lot of people do. And that's mostly, I think, how most of us got into collecting toys to begin with, like Star Wars. Like we were collecting Han Solo and Luke and whatever. You know, those are real people pretending to be characters. So I get it, but you know, maybe you'll change. But most of us do. Most of us collect that. Got my CT Red Daredevil. Nice, Stu.
Oh, I need to get the Shadowlands one still.
You didn't get that?
Not yet. I mean, you know, those things are always available, so I'm not like in a rush. I haven't even gotten any of the Mess Toy Spider-Man stuff as much as I want them. It's just these invoices keep coming.
Yeah. I got to put in for my Mess Toys Scarlet Spider. Every time, like, they try to send me a free one, and I have to input a code to get it, and it keeps, like, screwing up. And I'm just like, ah.
So
But
Mess
I'm
Toys
never going to say no to a free toy. I'm going to keep trying.
So CT and Mess Toys have an official website for U.S. Buyers, U.S. customers now. It was a way to like circumvent like tariffs or whatnot. So
no on both of those, unfortunately. For Tindrake March in Japan, probably, hopefully is the better word, not probably, hopefully. And what about the States? Well, it depends on who you ordered it from, right? Because they're not distributed in the States. So if you got it from Ami Ami or Hobby Genki or something, probably within a week, hopefully. And then if you order from Big Bad, maybe within 3 weeks to a month, maybe. Who else carries Mofex? Does Big Nerdy carry Mofex?
Yeah, he has Mofex. So does what's it? I mean, Amazon, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think.
Well, I mean, like in America, like beyond, like Amazon USA, do they carry Mofex?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, Amazon and dude, what's the other Sci-Fi Toys also carries Mofex. You know,
but 5K doesn't.
No, not 5K.
5K is like exclusively Chinese stuff, right?
It would appear so.
And sometimes some Blitzway. Blitzway's out of South Korea.
Yeah,
I think they carry
Blitzway. 5K mainly does a lot of the third-party stuff.
Yeah. All right. All right. Big Nerdy does do it.
Yeah.
Sorry if I missed it. What's the word on Rogue? Not this long. I'm assuming it's supposed to come out this weekend.
The 20th was what the date said, right?
Well, 20th is Friday, I think.
Friday, yeah.
It's not coming out on a Friday. It's coming out on a Saturday.
Well, 20th for us would be 21st for you. So
yeah,
probably the 21st.
Like stores will start putting it out on the 20th, but the street date is Saturday. It's the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in the game industry, and competitors would sometimes send digital copies of their games right before release, and they rarely worked. Yeah. Yeah, 3 weeks to a month. Yeah. You're welcome. I appreciate you watching. So I'm gonna call it. Yeah, I'm gonna call it because I do have to get some stuff out to the post office. I gotta go buy myself some lunch. I got a long day, and I gotta hit up the Medicom store later. So, and I gotta meet a dude and give him his Spider-Man. So,
nice. He's actually there, huh?
He's actually here. He's here this week. So
nice.
Yeah. So appreciate it, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching. 2.5 hours in. I'm an hour over my intended limit. Matt with 2 T's is here. What? What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
Just in time to say goodbye. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Maybe I'm going to be doing the reviews of Rogue, and who else did I say was coming out this weekend? Aquaman, I think.
It looks like Superman might be coming out too, right? The blue Superman.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Cavill.
Maybe
he's on display.
Well, I don't know when he's coming out. I think the original thing they told me was that he is coming out at the end of the month, and that Rogue, he's coming out with Gambit at the end of the month.
Oh, that's right. Gambit's on display too. Yeah.
Gambit's at the end of the month next week. Rogue is this week, but I can't remember if Superman is this week or Aquaman is next week. I can't remember. I'll have to look. So I'm not sure. But again, thank you, everybody, for watching. Appreciate it, and hopefully see you all next time. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.